So today we're going to be having Mr. Akin, and he'll be speaking on the youth leadership in national development, and this has to do with how youth can actually impact, give that level of impact in developing their nations and wherever we find ourselves in life. So we're going to be having Mr. Akin right away, and then we're going to begin. Okay, just joined us now. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, 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 very good. Okay, go live. Yeah, thank you so much.
Sorry, 1 second.
Okay, sir.
Uh, I'm not sure you can see me very well. Um,
Okay. So I think he has to turn this vertically. Sorry, horizontally so that it's getting.
okay.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I can see you well now. I
All
can
right.
see you well.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So I think some people have joined, and then
I'm very old when it comes to technology. Apologies for that.
no problem, sir.
I
So I want.
stopped at the roadside so that I could join you on time. I tried to actually join you at 7, but I've been struggling to connect.
No problem. No
Apologies.
problem. No problem, sir. Thank you so much. I want to officially give a thank you for accepting to actually speak here. And I looked through your profile and I realized that wow, this is very important to have people like you to speak to us. So I want to say thank you once again. Thank you so, so much. Okay, so let me officially introduce Mr. Akin Golan us, and he'll be speaking on youth leadership in nothing. And after that, we're going to ask you questions. So we'll let Mr. Akin go. Thank you so much, sir.
Before I start, may I just know the audience so I know the people I'll be talking to?
Okay, yeah, we have young people. Uh, well, let me turn on. Okay, let me see. I think for now, we've not had some of them joining. They joined earlier on, so I think maybe the Instagram's telling them to join again. So we have to wait. But we have young people joining.
Okay, like what age range?
Yeah, we have from the age of 18, 20, 30, 35, thereabout.
Okay, okay. All right. Thank you very much. My name is Akin Bola Adeniro. I'm a legal practitioner and also a consultant. I like to see myself as a rule of law consultant. I work in my law firm and I have a consultancy. My law firm is called Awudi and Co. I'm a partner there, and my consultancy is Awudi Advisory Services. Um, I am 44 years old, so I think I've crossed the age of being classified as youth,
Yeah.
even though I still like to think of myself as youth. But as you could see, with me struggling to join Instagram, it's definitely, um, you know, a no-no. I don't think I'm no. I can still do. Youth in leadership and national development. The youth constitute the bulk of our population. They are the majority. I mean, we've all been saying the cliche, the future, and all of that. I'm sure you've heard it all. But the fact of the matter is, Nigeria will be left in your hands, and at some point, you're going to be the ones on the driver's seat. What happens today will matter in relation to what happens to you at that time. And the things that you do today also matter a lot. And there's some conversations that you need to have with yourselves in order for you to plot how your future would be.
Hmm.
One major aspect of that conversation is the way you relate with one another. That's now within the youth. How you agree on things, how you settle or resolve issues, whether you're still thinking ethnically, religiously, or whether you're just going by logic and what's in the best interest of the youth and the nation as a whole. And this is important, particularly when I see youth discussing political issues. And sometimes the way inflammatory language is used, insulting language, and it so quickly degenerates into an ethnic discussion or sometimes religious. I don't think that's going to help anyone. I think you need to be able to look at issues dispassionately and start thinking about 20, 30, 40 years down the line. How would this impact me as a person and the country as a whole? And so when you now decide for yourself, what can I do? And I think there are many things. If we start by looking at where we are as a country, one of the problems I've found is we do not respect rules, laws, and so on. I'll give you an example. Many of you have seen do not dump refuse signs, around Lagos. Those signs, that's where people dump refuse. Many of you have seen do not urinate here. That's exactly where people urinate. One-way roads, that's exactly where people, go on. And they find all sorts of reasons to justify and to excuse that behavior. Many people dump plastic bags in drains and then, blame the government when there's flooding. Without even thinking that, their own actions are responsible for, exactly where they are and what's happening to them. Many things we do as individuals come back to haunt us. We try to hold the government to a higher standard, but fail to hold ourselves to that standard. And if we don't hold ourselves to that standard, there is no way your government comes from you. Your government is a reflection of you. If you are a reflection of what you want to see in government, government will adapt. I can promise you that. If government sees that their policies and everything they do is considered repugnant to the generality of the population, government will adjust. I can assure you of that. And so one of the things I would encourage you to do is to, first of all, look at yourself, look inward and say, what is it that I'm doing from day to day that is harmful to society? And how can I change that? Forget about your neighbor, forget about the other person, talk to yourself. And I think this is the first port of call, because we usually are quick to see the wrong that others do and fail to identify the ones that we are guilty of. So that's my most important piece of advice. The second thing I'll say is, again, it sounds cliched, but I'll tell you why it's very important, is this love your neighbor principle. We live on this earth, but sadly, for some people, we don't live alone. We live in communities, we live in societies, we live with other people. Whatever actions we take affects other people. And the reality is that we all did not come to this planet equal. Some people came, in wealthy homes, some came in not so wealthy homes, and people did not start on an equal footing. I'm not saying that they cannot be equal or that they should not be considered equal when it comes to job opportunities and all that, but the reality is that they haven't been given equal opportunities from the word go. It is incumbent on us to do whatever we can to help those people. I usually say when I see people hawking on the streets and I look at them and I look at what they have on top of their head. If they sell everything, maybe they make 5,000 that whole day. Maybe. Now, and that 5,000, by the way, is not profit. It's the turnover. They have to invest out of that in order to get another set of wares to sell the next day and so on. How are they going to break through that poverty cycle? And guess what? It is your business to ensure that they do break through that poverty cycle. Why? Because when you start to have people, the majority in that cycle, and getting disgruntled and frustrated, then you're going to start having the upheavals that we've seen with the Arab Spring, even that's even different. I'm even talking about what you now see in Sri Lanka happening. And what you saw on October 21st, 2020, will be small fry to what we're going to see if that happens. And you might think, oh, they are going to target only old people. No, it's going to be about those who have and those who don't have. And if you are youth and you have, you'll be one of the people targeted. And we have to start thinking about how to help others to get out of that poverty trap. And it's so important because many times, apart from ignoring them, sometimes we're even rude to them. I'm saying, we say, get out of my car, don't even talk to me, or what's wrong with you? Why are you wasting it? Why are you blocking the road? These people are only trying to make a living at the end of the day. And it is a tough life. If you put yourselves in their shoes, you see how, difficult it is to make headway. And so whatever you can do by way of volunteering, whatever you can do, participate or volunteer for a social cause. Try to see, so I'm not even saying donate. No. You can help in a social way. You can be part of a cause, for example, that provides access to justice if you're lawyers, to make sure that, there are people who can get that legal representation that they would have paid, $1 million for, they can get it pro bono, they can get it for free. Do something that helps others in society. Don't only focus on yourself and your families. It's important. That's my second piece of advice. Thirdly, I want you to be humble and to be willing to learn. Many times I've come across people that I'll describe as arrogant. As I am now, I'm still learning. There are many things on a daily basis. I sit down and, I just said, please just tell me how to do this. I'm learning every day. But I've seen people who refuse to acknowledge that they may not know something and yet to go out arguing about it. I'll give you an example. I was in court once, and I was in court with a French lawyer. So a lawyer practicing in France. He came to Nigeria to visit, and he came to watch the proceedings in court on that day. And then, as we're going out, we saw one young lawyer, and, he said, oh, where are you from? He was talking to the French lawyer. The guy said, oh, I'm from France. They said, civil law system. Oh, interesting. So you have people who presume defendants to be guilty, and then they have to prove their innocence. And the French lawyer says, no, we also are parties to the European Convention on Human Rights. Even in our system, we presume people to be innocent until proven guilty. This young lawyer would not relent. He said, no. What I was taught in school is that you presume people guilty. I don't know what you are saying. Now, forgetting that this is a person who practices in that jurisdiction. And instead of him to ask questions, it was more or less just making statements, and he refused to listen to what the French lawyer was saying. Now, I'm not even saying that, in some instances, the young lawyers may be wrong. What I'm saying is the approach. Ask questions, do your research, and then come back and then make your conclusions. And that's the way you learn. Another example. I've seen many times when people come out and either they want to run straight for governor or run as president. I mean, it is, there was a program I was watching and, there was this guy I was talking about, running or leading a country is like flying a plane. When you leave it with inexperienced people, you have problems. Yes, many of our leaders have experience in the wrong things. And so they show bad habits, and then we equate experience in that sense, or we see it as a bad thing. No, experience can be a good thing, and so you have to balance experience with integrity. And the point I'm trying to make is try yourselves to see how you can learn if you want to participate in governance and you want to go into development, don't also. Sorry, 1 second. Let me see how I can. Yeah. So don't also go and be arrogant and think that you know it all. Try to learn either from people who have done it. Try to contribute your own to no matter what level of government. It could be local government, it could be state government, it could be through the judiciary, it could be through the House of Assembly. Look for a way to participate in governance at whatever level and learn from it. I worked at state level before going to federal level. And it took me a while to even understand how the state government functions. For a whole 6 months, I was just lost because if you don't understand civil service, you're wasting your time. I mean, many things will just fly over your head without you understanding what's going on. You will not be able to implement policies because the people who actually implement are the civil servants. You come as a policy maker, yes, as a decision maker also, but you have to then filter whatever you've decided through the civil service in order for it to be implemented. And many people think that, oh, this is just routine. You just tell them to do it and then they do it. No, it doesn't work that way. And then so you can imagine after doing that in Lagos State, I now went federal. And then I was shocked because federal is completely different from state as well. It took me time to learn at federal level. So you can imagine someone who comes in as president at federal level without any experience whatsoever, either at federal or state government level, and then says, I can effectively rule. It doesn't work that way. Yes, you may, be a quick learner, and within a year or two, you learn, and then you have another 2 years to actually do something. But I think the country is in a place where it may not have a year or two for learners. But the point I'm trying to make is try and prepare yourself for leadership. If you leave leadership to those that you say are not qualified, then you really have no right to complain about what they do. And so you also need to step into the ring, no matter at what level, start from somewhere, and then try to build on your profile. Then the last point, I want to then make is national, just focusing on the national development aspect. I'm a student of, by student, I don't mean he actually taught me, but I follow the school of thought of Amartya Sen, who talks about development as freedom. And what that means essentially is he's saying that a country will develop if that country respects the rights and freedoms of the citizens and residents of that country. And so if your right to life, your right to health, your right to education, your right to freedom of movement, and so on and so forth, freedom from discrimination, right to fair hearing, if all those rights are respected and protected, a country will develop. And so if you know this and you want to then push for development in your own little way, the way you do it is also by ensuring that people do have these rights guaranteed, protected. So if someone is complaining about being left out or not being able to access one of those rights, find a way to help them in that way. Find a way to push them in the right direction. There is this NGO, it's a Dutch one, the Hague Institute for Innovation of Law. And I've been doing some work with them, looking at how SDG Goal 16 can be implemented or can be achieved through projects that can be implemented in whatever country. And the idea is if you can guarantee some of those targets and objectives under SDG Goal 16, you see significantly improve the situation of many in any country. And so I hope with just these four pieces of advice, at least we can start a conversation and then see how we can move
Wow.
things forward.
Wow, thank you so much, Thank you so much. It's actually eye-opening, and then he sort of indirectly answered some of the questions I'd written down to actually ask already. So, there are three questions right now, which I want to ask is, how important, in your own opinion, how important is the subject of value and virtue in national development, especially in the system of leadership in Africa?
I think it's extremely important. Integrity is everything. My father used to tell me that I'm not going to leave you with money, but I'm going to leave you with something more valuable than money, a good name. Protect that name with whatever you have, because that is your brand. And I think we need to start branding ourselves. Many people of integrity actually sometimes are ashamed. That's the funniest thing in Nigeria. I've seen people who want to do the right thing but are ashamed of doing the right thing, because many people will say, "Oh yeah, Dodoyo, look at you. You mean you were in that position and you couldn't even take anything for your family? You must be a fool." They will insult you. And so a lot of people actually will not even talk about it in the midst of people who see otherwise. But I think we need to start being bold about being someone of integrity. And just to see the way it translates into governance. If you're someone of integrity, and by integrity, I mean that you are someone who also enforces it, within your government, then it means that you will be filtering it slowly downwards. Then you have a top-down approach. So it doesn't end with you. It doesn't end with your cabinet. It doesn't end with the civil service. Basically goes all the way to members of the public, and citizenry at large. And this is the way in which you can execute projects. The project will cost you 35 billion. You spend 35 billion, so that you can use other money that would have been stolen for other projects that people do need. Yes, we're in a society where there isn't enough resources to actually execute all the projects that we need to execute. But then it doesn't help when, a lot of it is also stolen and taken out to other countries, and it's not even helping, the people of the country where the resources are already lean. So integrity, I think, is everything.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, so the other one is, should there be, or are there universal virtues or values young people should have or develop in the process of working together as a people towards national development? Like you mentioned, integrity already. It should be a universal thing, because sometimes people say that, oh no, this is politics in Africa, so this is how you should play it. This is politics in Europe. This is how you should play it.
Yeah, so integrity is there for sure. And I think the willingness to learn also, like I mentioned earlier, the willingness to partner with others and to work as part of a team is extremely important. Being focused on so I come from a center-left ideology. And so I would like government to focus a lot on those who are oppressed, who are weak, who are poor, because the majority of the people in Nigeria belong in this category. And if we say, oh, we want to focus on the rich or the middle class, I think we'll be forgetting a large percentage of Nigerians that actually need attention. So those are the things I think one needs at this stage.
Thank you very much, sir. So the last question, okay, the last question, so is I realize certain issues right now with young people who stand for integrity, young people who stand for what is right, and they get into places where there's conflict in values. And the question is, how do we resolve or manage the issues of conflict differences in the process of working with a group of people towards national development. So we're in a group of people, working people, and then they're different, clear and distinct difference between the values they hold in high esteem and the values you also hold in high esteem. Should you walk out of this organization at the detriment of the position or your value, or how? How should you manage issues like that?
So this is a very delicate issue, and I'll tell you why. So in government now, so if you say you want to change things, and you walk into government and you expect that government is going to, act in a pure manner, without any infringement, with integrity and all, then you're really fooling yourselves at the moment. And yet you should be able to function with integrity even within that government, right? So when you go in, you should stand for something. Your standard should be known. Your integrity should be known. So even when they want to do something wrong, they won't come to you to ask for help. They know that you say no. So you should stand for something and let people know what you stand for. When it becomes impossible to continue to stand for that thing, that is when you leave. But let me be very clear, because a lot of people always make the mistake to say it's impossible to have integrity in government. It is not so. I remember, at a time when a political constituency came to see me, and essentially, towing the line of, oh, now that you're in government, you have to make sure that you deliver something on a weekly basis. And I had to basically tell them, you know what, this is the Ministry of Justice. There's no money here. But I can tell you something that I will do for you. If there are projects in your constituency that are being considered, I will speak up and try to push for those projects to happen. If there are employment opportunities for people in your area, I will reach out to you and ask you if you have someone that you can recommend that will compete for the role, but at least we'll make sure that you are not treated unfairly in this regard. If there's anything that is happening that can benefit your community, I will push for it. And you know what? The funny thing is, I'm out of government now. I still talk to those people because they recognize that I was frank, I was honest, and I was not deceptive. They respect me for it, and they basically interacted with, and they supported my programs while I was in government. And so my point is, let us not assume that there's a way of doing things and that you will not survive if you do not toe the obvious line.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Akin. I'm very grateful. So the last question, but not the least, the last question, is in your experience, you've had experience with different people globally, in Africa especially, and even in Nigeria. Some young people are watching this, and some people are going to watch it later on. In few words, what would you tell young people of your experience so far? And what advice have you had in your heart to just tell young people to listen today?
So don't be too fussy about things. Don't always insist that there is only one path to success. You can reach success through many paths. And the time might differ for different people. Don't always be in a hurry. If you have your name, you're hardworking, and you're someone of integrity, you will be successful. I can guarantee that. So always make sure you look at things holistically. Always be respectful of others. Always be humble. These are qualities that human beings still love. And you will be someone will always look out for you, because those qualities, even though we love them, are quite rare to see all of those qualities in one individual. And so the more you're able to brand yourself, maintaining hard work, integrity, willingness to learn, and so on in your daily lives, you will make it in life.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Akin. I'm really, really grateful. Thank you so, so much. And we hope that one day we will have you live in New York one day. Thank you so much, Mr. Akin.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yes, and thank you very much. Apologies again for the late start.
No problem,
It
sir.
was
Thank
my
you very
pleasure
much.
to be here.
Okay, sir. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Thanks so, Mr. Akin, once again for joining. Thank you very, very much. Okay, bye, sir.
Bye.